ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. Hello, 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 hello. Hello again and welcome to my stage, your platform. I am Suzy Q and I thank you very much for joining me today. You could have been anywhere watching anything, but you chose to be here with me. So know how very much I appreciate you for taking the time to listen and be here with me. Now today I have a story to share with you all. I found this in the New York Times, which really touched my heart. Many of you who read the New York Times may have already seen this, but I kept a copy to share with those who may not have seen or read it yet. Well, I also have an online subscription, so I figured, just share the story from the computer. And so here I am about to read the story written by Catherine Coleman Flowers from my computer. I have my computer right in front of me right now, so I'm going to be reading from that. Now, Miss Flowers is the author of the forthcoming Waste One Woman's Fight Against America's Dirty Secret. That is the title of a book, I'm guessing, and from which this essay was adapted, only because I have not read the book just yet. Here we go. This is what she wrote. My story starts in Lowndes County, Alabama, a place that has been called Bloody Lowndes because of its violent, racist history. It is part of Alabama's Black Belt, a broad strip of rich, dark soil worked and inhabited largely by poor Black people who, like me, are descendants of slaves. Our ancestors were ripped from their homes and brought here to pick the cotton that thrived in the fertile earth. I grew up here, left to get an education, and followed a range of professional opportunities. But something about that soil gets into your blood. I came back home hoping to help good, hardworking people rise up out of the poverty that bogs them down like Alabama mud. A big part of my work now is educating people about rural poverty, environmental injustice, about how poor people around the United States are trapped in conditions no one would put up with. Those conditions, polluted air, tainted water, untreated sewage, make people sick. I take activists, donors, and politicians to see each conditions for themselves. We visit families crowded into run-down homes that lack heat in the winter and plumbing in all seasons. We visit homes with no means of wastewater treatment because septic systems cost more than most people earn in a year and tend to fail anyway in the impervious clay soil. Families cope the best they can, mainly by jury-rigging PVC pipe to drain their toilet sewage into cesspools in the woods or yards outside where they breed parasites and disease right by where children and pests play. An estimated 90% of the Lowndes household have failing or inadequate wastewater system. Although no one took the time to count until my organization, the Center for Rural Enterprise and Environmental Justice, conducted a door-to-door survey in 2011 and 2012. The head of one of those households for years was Pamela Rush. Pam, who was a 42-year-old mother with a cautious smile when I met her in 2018, greeted visitors at the door of the faded blue single wide trailer she shared with her two children. Senator Bernie Sanders, as well as famous activists like Jane Fonda and the Reverend Dr. William Barber II of the Poor People's Campaign, traveled down the dusty road to Pam's home, where they saw a picture that was hard to shake. In 2018, I described her living condition in an essay for the Times. The trailer barely protected Pam and her children, now 11 and 16, from the elements. Gaps in the walls had let opossums and other wild animals squeeze in, so Pam had stuffed rugs in the holes and set traps outside the front door. She cautioned visitors to watch their steps on the slopy, flimsy floors, which were soft underfoot. Her monthly checks, less than $1,000 a month from disability and child support payments, didn't stretch far enough to cover repairs. Still, Pam did her best to make a comfortable home for her children, shopping secondhand at the Salvation Army stores. The trailer was musty, poorly ventilated, and dimly lit. with water stains, popcorn ceilings, and exposed electrical wiring. But Pam had arranged an old sofa and chairs in a cozy semicircle around the television set and hung frame print on the mildew-streaked walls. A mobile of 3 brown-skinned angels bearing the words "Angels live here" hung from the wall. She shared a bed with her daughter, whose bedroom was uninhabitable because of mold that thrived in the damp environment. The child suffered from asthma and needed a CPAP machine to breathe at night. Her son slept on the couch. At the rear of the home, overlooking a small yard and dense woods, was a collapsed deck. Besides the deck is a pipe spewed raw sewage into the ground. The toilet papers and feces told the story of the lost American dream much more clearly than Pam ever could. The pride and independence of home ownership came to rest there in that stinking pool. Why didn't she move? People sometimes asked me. A look at her mortgage papers provided one reason. She had paid about $113,000 for the trailer in 1995 with an interest rate of 10%. 20 years later, she still owes $13,000, but the trailer was worthless. Besides this, payments came due each month. A septic system was out of the question. New ones in lawns with its impermeable soil can easily cost more than $15,000. That's an example of the structural poverty that traps good, hardworking people where they are. This year, COVID-19 has swept through Lowndes County like a brush fire. Poor people, and especially Black people, fell victim in alarming numbers. Brazen politicians have actually called for people to die to protect the economy. In Lowndes County, that's exactly what happened. Poor essential workers are dying to save the very economic and social structure that trapped them in poverty. It wasn't long before Lowndes County had the highest rate of coronavirus cases in Alabama. Many people were infected at the factories, warehouses, nursing homes, or stores where they worked. They didn't have the luxury of telecommuting. Others caught it from family members who didn't know they had the virus or had no means of social distancing. They couldn't afford to check into a motel. They had no second homes to retreat to. In the absence of coherent public policy, people did what they could to help one another, leaving food and other supplies on the front porches of those who were infected. In one of our last conversations this spring, Pam told me she was fixing some greens for a sick relative. After 2 years of working with Pam, my nonprofit had finally raised the money to help her buy a new mobile home. We were all anticipating her move with joy, but the pandemic had put it on hold. Then, like a heat-seeking missile, the coronavirus zeroed in on Pam. When she developed breathing problems in June, she was admitted to a Selma hospital and then transferred to University of Alabama Medical Center in Birmingham. That's where she fought for her life for a few days before she lost her battle on July 3rd. The official cause of death was COVID-19. But the underlying causes of her suffering were poverty, environmental injustice, climate change, race, and health disparities. They would never be listed on a death certificate. I felt powerless, unable even to visit Pam in the hospital in Birmingham where she had been taken. My heart ached for her and for her family. At one point, the hospital asked for a picture of Pam, maybe so that the staff could see her as she was before COVID. I sent pictures of her with Mr. Sanders and Dr. Barber. I wanted them to know that this struggling patient was an important woman. Before COVID-19, we thought we had a solution to Pam's plight. After years of living in horrible conditions, Pam and her children would finally have a livable home with a working septic system. Sadly, Pam never got to live there. In the end, it didn't matter that Pam had opened her life and shown the world what inequality looks like, or that influential Americans had walked through her home and left in disbelief. Senator Doug Jones, Democrat of Alabama, had climbed her rickety front steps. Senator Sanders had told her story in a video shown across the nation. He had promised to work on policies to address her problems, but that would take time that Pam didn't have. It didn't even matter that Pam had testified before Congress. The forces of structural poverty were too strong. I'm still hoping Pam's children will live in the home and enjoy the better life she envisioned for them. That was the story of Pam and what Catherine Flowers wrote of her. It is very sad that Miss Pamela Rush will never get to live that American dream, ever. I'm very grateful for people like Miss Catherine Flowers and her organization who are dedicated to seeking help for the poor. Which brings me to the reason why I wanted this video to be about structural poverty in this time where Christmas is drawing near, and very soon we will be entering into a new year. This year has been very difficult for most people. Lives have been lost, people still sick. There is great division in this country as people continue to harbor hate in their hearts towards others because things may not have gone their way. We are still dealing with a pathological president who is far gone in the head, and I'm afraid he's still delusional. Then we have the people who keep screaming socialism to people seeking governmental assistance such as food stamps and disability. For your information, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, known as SNAP, is what people mean when they say food stamps. SNAP helps feed millions of Americans, many of whom are children, the elderly, or disabled. Food stamps have been a heated topic in the recent political debate with proposed cuts impacting many Americans. But here are some facts of recipients of SNAP or food stamps as we all know it. Households must earn less than 130% of the poverty level to receive SNAP, meaning a family of 4 will need to make $31,980 or less to receive SNAP benefits. The average household receives $256 a month to spend on food. Nationally, 12.4% of Americans receive food stamps to supplement their food. New Mexico has the highest percentage of food stamps recipients at 21.49%. California has the highest amount of food stamp recipients at 3,987,751. Before I go on, will you watch this short clip with me, please?
From the central to the western, Ashanti to Bono, and the 4 regions in the north, you will be shocked at the pictures of extreme poverty.
No, I'm faced to the phone trade. I'm the face to the trade.
As simple things or basic needs like sanitary pads, food to eat, and sometimes where to sleep. Girls exchange sex.
Presenting the real situation, the gaps. Media campaign on inequalities.
That was sent to me by a non-profit organization known as The Gaps, which premiered November 12, 2020 on GH1 TV, which is a television network in Ghana and airs every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. They started The Gaps to create awareness to what is going on in other parts of the world, a campaign on the social inequality in Africa, Ghana to be specific. No one should ever have to live like that, like Catherine Flowers mentioned. No one should be going to bed famished. And I hope this can reach the Ghanaians who are well-to-do to see what they can do to contribute to help. I also hope that the government is listening every Thursday to GH1 TV at 8:30 p.m. to be reminded that our people somewhere in most villages are suffering, hungry, and need medical attention. These poor people need them to come to their rescue. I will try to gather as much information as to what anyone can do to help those families and children. When I get all the information I need, I will post them on my Facebook page and Instagram pages should anyone be interested in helping any way they can, especially Ghanaians in good standings among the African diaspora and the citizens living back home. To the Ghanaian leaders, yes, we are a third world country, but Ghana isn't that poor to the extent that we can't reach out and help those destitute, especially in the rural areas. It is no fault of these people to be born in poverty. That, my friends, could have been any of us born into that world. There are so many families like Pam in this country and even much more in third world nations. None of them asked to be born into such hardship and cruel environment. The Ghanaian government needs to make it part of their overall mission to provide some form of housing, education, and medical needs for the poor. I was in Ghana 2 years ago and I was so disappointed in what I saw. Not so long ago, I had an intense conversation with privileged people who think that their wealth will be lost if government keeps helping the poor, which is quite absurd. And yes, there are people like that. There are people who think like that. You know, the very first time I was very shocked too. I'm like, what in the world are they talking about? But yeah, there are people who think like that. Sadly, I have also worked in the past with some people with that mindset. According to their theory, minorities on food stamps are lazy and they hate for their tax money going to such people. They spoke blatantly, forgetting I am actually in the room and that I am black. Not that I'm in the situation where I have to collect food stamps, but it was still very hard to hear, especially since I had to work with them. They assume that just because someone is poor, that they are lazy, or should I say they equate poverty to laziness. Minorities in poor neighborhoods have the highest rate in recipients of food stamps, and that must be due to laziness? Seriously? Come on now. Minorities are my people. White people on food stamps are my people. Every breathing, living human being suffering are my people. It should not matter what color of the skin needs help. People should get the help they need to live yet another day while striving for a better life for themselves and for their family. The thought of structural poverty trapping good hard-working people where they are, like Catherine Flowers wrote, never crosses the minds of people like those I worked with and the privileged ones I had this discussion with. We forgot that people living in poverty like Pamela Rush and her family obviously were not living a Shangri-La lifestyle. So what if they got food stamps? How is that possibly hurting anyone? We don't even feel it. It doesn't change what you have and I have. When it comes for you to collect your social security checks during your retirement days, it will all be there. Nothing will change from the amount you will be receiving. Just a reminder, Social Security in retirement is a form of socialism, just so you know. Watch my video entitled Our Capitalistic Socialistic Economic System to learn more on America's economic system, a system which has always found a common ground in the middle between capitalism and socialism and which has worked for this country for many years. I am not sure why they chant for socialism when the same people chanting are the beneficiaries of it and even more. Beats me. Also, by the way, do you know anyone on food stamps who goes to places like Per Se, Jean Georges, Saraverin, or Harry Cipriani's restaurant to eat? How about using your food stamps in stores like Tiffany's, Saks Fifth Avenue, or Neiman Marcus, Bergdorf Goodman? Do they drive Range Rovers, Mercedes Benzes, or Jaguars? No, they do not. They mostly shop at the dollar grocery stores or mass discount stores for what they would deem freshest food that they can afford with the little they have. Come rain, snow, or shine, most of them rely on public transportation, which will take them longer to get to their destination of 30 minutes had they had a car of their own. If you watch the video I made on structural racism, you would know that people like Pam do not have the luxury of going to places like Whole Foods like some of us do, or even Trader Joe's. The saddest part to me is that some of us have forgotten who we are and where we came from or where we come from. For 4 years, I was frustrated in what was happening in this country and around me. We had a president who gladly promoted division to benefit his political agendas, promoted hate, and lacked empathy for human lives. I was especially disappointed in people whom I thought were good and decent people supporting such a man. To some Christians, especially evangelical Christians, where were your Christian values when you sat back and watched this president lie, belittled, degraded, and insulted anyone he thought was beneath him or anyone he may be in disagreement with repeatedly, even till today, even to his own parties? Christians who supported this man in the name of God made being a Christian myself very difficult. Being a Christian does not mean waking up Sunday morning, go to church, have fellowship with fellow parishioners, and then go home to judge your neighbors. There is more to it than that. Some people I know who have never set foot in a church, in my opinion, have shown more courage and kindness during these difficult, trying times and during these 4 years of Trumpism than some of us who have actually set foot in a church. A true Christian to me works and walks in the image of God, meaning being humble, giving alms to the poor, not judging people for their mistakes, and not looking the other way in support of hate, all that is cruel, heartless, and evil, all because you are against abortion. Besides, I don't think it's your place to judge. Didn't Jesus say in Matthew chapter 7 verse 1, judge not that you not be judged? What happened to that part of the scriptures? I hope you don't really think that you are without sin, because we are all sinners. If anyone gave and did more for the poor, was very merciful and forgiving of sins in the Bible, it was Jesus. So how come we don't call him a socialist? When he gives to the poor, is blessed be the fruit, may the Lord open. And by the way, that is from The Handmaid's Tale on Hulu, my favorite show. I can't wait for it to come back. We've been given good weather. Praise be. But seriously, how come when Jesus gives to the poor, it is great, but when a politician gives to the poor, looks out for the poor, and puts the poor's best interest at heart to care for them, to give them a decent way of living, you call that same act of kindness socialism? And oh, the Democrats are going to turn us into Venezuela. That's my favorite one. Really? Come on. Because it comes from a human being and not the spiritual being? Has it ever dawned on you, my dearest evangelical Christians out there and the socialism gurus, that maybe that is what Jesus would have rather wanted you all to do? Show mercy and be kind? To all my fellow Americans, come this Christmas and into the year 2021, that is if we make it by the grace of God, we should put all the hurt, the pain, the division, the disregard for human lives, our disagreements, all fueled by one single man on a phone somewhere tweeting, we should put all that, including the tweeting president, in the past. Am I asking too much? Am I asking too much? All the minorities who think that this president gives a crap about them and voted for him and against their own interest, to everyone, one nation under God in the United States, don't you think that it is time to start a new chapter in 2021? A chapter where we can try to listen more, understand more, learn more, give more, help more, show more kindness, and above all, not judge others lest we be judged. I know it is easier said than done, but before 2017, things weren't so terrible and so divided. Why not remember those days, forget what took place in the interim in between, and picking things up from 2016, erasing 2017 to 2020, but remember the dead during these difficult COVID times? Well, at least it is my wish that we can all try. And that is what I will be wishing for a long time to come. Christmas is a time of giving and caring, and most of us can't be with our families because of COVID. If you know anyone who needs help during this time, show a little kindness and see how great that feels, knowing that thanks to you, their Christmas may be, after all, merry. As I mentioned earlier, I will do the best I can to get all the information needed on the nonprofit organization called the Gabs, and I hope that anyone who comes across this video will join me in looking into this foundation to see how best we can help these poor people. If we can donate as little as $1, I am confident it will help feed a hungry child or an individual for a day. If you're watching this, know that those hungry children you saw in that video do not even have the luxury of having food stamps. We need to take care of people in the United States, and we need to learn to extend some of that personal help to the outside world as well. That is what this country is known for, the ability to show kindness where and when it is needed. Also, in the year 2021, try to see goodness in progressivism and see the goodness in our leaders who are trying to create a world livable and peaceful for all. Enough of the socialism and fear of becoming Venezuelans. We're never going to become that. That is all gibber, jabber, gibberish. We are the United States of America. Take pride in that. The light of the world for all other nations, and that is who we will always be, not Venezuelans. I do not believe that the outcome of this year's election result should give most of us comfort in knowing that there are still 6 million more people who came out to vote because they still believe in this country, its reputation, and above all, its democracy for all. 6 million more people who still believe in the American dream and doing the right things. This election has reminded me once more how very lucky I am to be here and to be a proud citizen of the United States of America. And you should all be as well, because there is goodness in this land, which is strong and powerful enough to wash away any evil that would test it. With that said, I wish you all a wonderful Christmas and a great new year. For those of you who listen to this diatribe, thank you for listening in. To all my subscribers, I thank you all very much for the support. And to those new to this channel, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button on the right side of this video to join the family of people who care and the Suzy Q training wagon. I have all my socials on my page and in the comment section below this video. So click, click, click away, click, 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 click away. Woo-hoo. Click away and let's get acquainted, okay? And look out for all future posts and information on the gaps, which will be posted on my social media. That's my Instagram and my Facebook pages, which by the way can all be accessed on my YouTube homepage. Till next time, be safe and smart and wear your mask as a courtesy of protecting others, especially since help will be reaching everyone soon in a form of a vaccine, okay? Okay. I will see you all soon. Cheers. Merry Christmas and Suzy Q out. I have no mic to drop, but
hi everyone, it's your girl Suzy Q, wishing you all a Merry Christmas and a wonderful new year to come. 2021 is going to be exciting, only positive things coming our way, and so we hang on tight.